Hello everyone! Today I will attempt to build my very first AliExpress watch, and I chose to go for this vintage military field watch. I will go through the process of building step by step. As this is my very first build, I am 100% going to make a lot of mistakes. Some of them I already spotted and I'm going to comment on them as we go through the video. And if I miss any and you are experienced in building watches or you spot these mistakes, please let me know in the comment section. I am really open to all your feedback. I'll leave all links to all the parts and all the tools that you will need to build the same watch in the video description. So I will go step by step and explain everything that I am doing. As I said earlier, I chose this vintage military style watch. It's a field watch. I'm going for this very beautiful black textured dial, a vintage looking distressed case, the NH35 movement from Seiko, automatic movement. No need to talk about that, it's one of the most used automatic movements out there. I'm also using two nylon straps. I couldn't decide between green and black and gold, so I picked both. First thing you want to do is to put on your finger cuts, as I'm doing here, so that you don't transfer any unwanted grease or oils into the watch. Now I'm putting the movement into the metal movement holder. This will allow me to comfortably install the dial and also to remove the crown stem without damaging the watch hand. So right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out how many feet I will need. So because the dial comes with 6 feet, and I will need to remove 4 of these. I am putting arrows on the ones that I need to keep right there. Here's my first mistake. I am trying to remove a piece of metal from the dial on top of an automatic movement. And that is a big no-no. It might be that there's debris that might fall into the movement and damage it. So as you see there, I figured it out, I removed the movement, put it somewhere safe, and then I move on with removing the unwanted feet. So as you see here, I've removed 4 feet, and now I will need to file them down so that the case can be flush on the movement. We do not want the dial to be elevated. It's gonna look bad when the watch is in the case. And I'm giving it a little bit of cleaning with the air thingy there. And I'm also using a very soft brush to clean the dial. Now I'm bringing back the movement so that I can place the dial on top of it. You'll need to make sure that the feet are really aligned with the holes on the movement so that you don't bend them, because that's going to create a big issue. And also, you don't need to apply a lot of force. You might need to be a little bit assertive, but if there's a lot of resistance, you might not be aligned with the holes in the movement. So double check that. What I'm trying to do now is to check if everything is sitting flush. But look at this. This is something that I didn't see when making the watch. There's a slight gap at the 3 o'clock position. Thankfully, I saw that in post and I have fixed it. What I'm trying to do now is to put the watch at 12 o'clock position so that I make sure to align the hands. But I made another mistake because I pushed the crown back in. Now the second hand is actually running, which means the watch is no longer at midnight. You put the crown to the first position and then you try to change the date slowly, and as soon as the date hits the next day, you need to stop and do not push the crown back in. That means that you are more or less at the midnight position. That is going to allow us to align the hands accurately. But you see that it's very difficult to align them. So I went for these gold hands. It's a perfect match in my opinion. Beautiful dial, beautiful hands. Is this gold color, and you will also notice that I picked the NH35 with a black date window and gold numerals as well, so it matches the vibe of the watch. I don't really like when the watch dial is one color and the date wheel is another one. It stands out a little bit too much. What I'm trying to do is to align and install the hour hand. I'm using this tool to push the hour hand into the pinion in its spot. Once that's done, I will need to align the minute hand on top of it. This is very important to get right. You don't want to misalign the hands, you don't want to scratch the hands, and you don't want to maybe even break the hands because it's not really strong material, right? So you really need to be patient in this step and take your time to make sure that everything is aligned. So now what I'm checking is that if the hands have sufficient space so that they do not scratch each other. Now that I made sure that the hands have sufficient space between them, I am going to check if my alignment is correct. And as you will see in a second, it is 5 to 4 minutes off. I understand it's very difficult and I was not planning on having the alignment perfectly there. So as you can see here, it's around 4 to 5 minutes off. Place the movement on the movement holder. Put on the dial protector so that I do not scratch the dial. And use this tool here to remove the hands. It's very important to use some kind of protection for the dial. It can be a piece of plastic or a piece of paper because that tool is made out of stainless steel. I just put the watch again at the 12 or midnight position, and this time I put the watch on the watch cushion because it's a little bit more comfortable for me personally to install the hands there. And I'm trying again to align the hour hand with the 12 o'clock position. Once that's done, I push it in. Just put the minute hand on the pinion as well, install it. And now I'm going to check again for the spacing between the two hands, just to make sure that both hands are well placed and they're not gonna scratch each other. And here we go again. I am testing for alignment, and as you will see again, I will miss it by just a little bit in the other direction. It was a little bit frustrating, but again, this is my first build. I'm not judging myself that much. As long as the watch works in the end, I'll be very satisfied. So this is one of the worst things that you will have to do when putting these parts together, is to install the second hand. This is one of the most annoying things to do, honestly, in my opinion, because the second hand has this foot that goes into the pinion, and it's so microscopic and it's so difficult to place, and I really struggled with it. I tried to use Rodico, as you can see there, and it didn't work because it gets sticky. So finally, with the use of some plastic tweezers, I was able to install it. So again, I need to push it in using this hand pusher. I push the crown in and the watch is running. So now I'm giving it a few winds so that it keeps on running. It was a relief to see that the movement is working perfectly and that the hands are well installed. But we're going to run into another problem very soon. There's not sufficient clearance between the second hand and the mid hand, so the second hand will stop. As you can see here from the side view, the second hand is really low, or the mid hand is a little bit high. So right now I'm just pulling the watch off frame to try to figure out what is happening, trying to move the hands so that I can push either the mid hand down or pull the second hand up. As you can see here, it's like pretty much kind of aligned. It's 1 to 2 seconds off, which is very nice in my opinion. So I'm giving it a little bit of cleaning with air, and now I'll put the watch back on the stainless steel watch holder so that I can remove the stem. It's a little bit difficult to do it on the cushion, so I highly recommend to get this tool here. I'll leave, of course, a link in the video description. There's this very small piece of metal on the movement that allows us to remove the stem by pressing it with something sharp. I removed the stem, I removed the watch, covered it so that it's well protected. Now I'm going to unwrap the case. So the case specs are 36 millimeters in diameter, 13 millimeters thickness, 44 millimeters lug to lug, and it has a sapphire crystal. I removed the gasket to grease it. for the watch to be as water resistant as possible, it is important to apply some grease to the gasket. So I put it aside, I give the case a little bit of cleaning to make sure that everything inside is nice and clean, and then I put the case on the movement, as you can see here, and flip the cushion upside down. This stem here comes with the movement, so I will screw it into the crown. Again, here you need to be a little bit assertive, but just make sure that the crown stem is well placed before you apply a lot of force. So here I'm struggling a little bit because this is, again, my first time doing it, but then I just push against the watch, rotor a little bit to get some grip, and now you can see it's installed. You can see that there's a lot of space that we'll need to cut because this is a 36mm watch, so the stem is quite big. Now I'm just trying to make sure that the stem is working correctly, and it is, which is great news. The second hand is still running, which is also great news. So what I am going to do now is to measure how much I need to cut from the crown stem. And here's where I make another mistake. I take measurements incorrectly. And as you can see here with the red arrows, this is where I need to measure from the end of the crown till the entry into the watch. But I measured it incorrectly, and now I am using this marker to mark where I need to cut. My advice here is to, first of all, take correct measurement, and secondly, always cut less than the measurement itself, because you can always remove from the stem, but you cannot add to it once you have cut more than you need to. My other advice is to buy spare stems, and I made sure to purchase some to keep them just in case, but thankfully this time I did not need it because I really measured way smaller than I needed to. So I'm using this thing here, pinchers, whatever you want to call them, to cut the stem, but make sure not to have the watch anywhere next there or any type of device that might be broken, because that stuff flies around and might even break your computer screen. As you can see here, I'm pretty happy with the cut, although I really cut way less than I needed to, and I'm trying to measure if it's all good. And as you will see here, I'm going to be surprised to find out that I didn't cut enough. So I kind of figured it out. So yeah, I'm making the correct cut. Once it's cut correctly, you will need to file it. And one last measurement to make sure that everything fits together. So as you can see here, crown looks like it fits perfectly. I'm gonna try to screw it in, and absolutely perfect. It turned out pretty cool, although I made that mistake in the beginning. So now what I'm trying to do is to put this middle lock or tight lock glue into the crown stem, so that it does not move. And this is very important, because if you don't do that, when you're going to unscrew the watch or maybe adjust the date, the crown is gonna come off the stem and you'll end up with the stem only into the watch. It's gonna be a pain in the ass to remove it. again. So I'm trying to put this glue and then remove any excess. It's important to remove any excess because any excess will glue the stem to the watch case or even to the movement, and that is gonna ruin your watch pretty much. Now that everything is installed inside the case, it's time to put on the gasket, making sure that it's well greased. I'm trying to put it cleanly into the case back so that no grease goes into the watch movement. And now I'm putting the case back on using this very handy ball here. This one allows you really to unscrew and tighten the case back without the risk of scratching it, because using metal tools you are risking scratching the case back. Look at that. I was really happy when I saw this for the first time. It looks so perfect. Everything matches. Also, that case gives it this vintage vibe that I was aiming for, and you will see as I install the nylon strap that it really matches the vibe, especially in these nylons. It's so beautiful. For me, this watch is perfect, and I couldn't ask for it to be any different. And as you can see on the green nylon, it's even better in my opinion. This watch, this entire build costs less than $100. I'll leave links in the video description for all the tools and the parts that I used. If you like this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this. Also, let me know, and if I didn't spot any mistake, please let me know. Let me know what you think about the watch, about the design and the choice of colors, and also which one is your favorite. Is it the black or the green nylon strap?